You could be forgiven for not noticing that it's all one thing. These statements put out by the U.S. Catholic bishops and these treasonous Democrats who are demanding that our military members go out and commit treason against the commander-in-chief of the United States military. I mean, you could say, well, no, it's completely different. But it's actually the same video, actually the same thing. There's actually no difference.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
And we are disturbed when we see among our people a climate of fear and anxiety around questions of profiling and immigration enforcement.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
So this is actually the same video. It's even cut in the same way. It's even the same technique. All the participants get a teleprompter. They all read from the teleprompter. They all stand in the same place, mostly, although there was some lady who decided to be a rogue when she was considering the insurrection and decided to do it from a camera phone in a bathroom somewhere in the Capitol. She's probably an intelligence services member, knowing that this is the effective safe room. They all read the same statement, and then some producers get together, and they take the best cuts. And they put it all together, and it's that powerful thing, speaking with one voice. But it's all the same thing. And it's all about as empty and performative as it can possibly be. And I'll explain this in a second. Not everything that comes in video form is empty and performative. My friends at Angel Studios did what HBO refused to do, that Netflix refused to accept. I know there were people who pitched documentaries about Fauci and what he did to people and what he is. They didn't do that. They had a celebratory movie. There's been Showtime, etc., a whole bunch of movies about Fauci, the hero. Well, Angel Studios decided to go and take an actual look at Fauci in the entire COVID period of time. So they got an award-winning director named Jenner Furst. He got exclusive interviews with government whistleblowers, intelligence experts, dissident, meaning truth-telling scientists and doctors, and they went back to the very origin of the COVID flu. And their theory is we may well be in a arms race for bioterror weapons with China, and we used the Wuhan lab experiment to see what they would do. It's a fascinating theory. This movie deserves to be watched by you right now because we've been demanding movies like this. Go to angel.com/Herman. You join the Angel Guild. You can immediately stream Thank You, Dr. Fauci. And in doing so, you will empower them to make more movies like this that demand accountability of people like Tony Fauci. It's angel.com/Herman. This is a picture of one of the people in this video you're about to watch. This is a picture of Maggie Goodlander. She's promoting this insurrection. And look there in this picture. She's standing by someone you would recognize. It's Hillary Rodham Clinton, of course, herself, sort of a treasonous person. And then you also see there in attendance, he's not in the picture, but William Jefferson Blythe Clinton III was in attendance. And we have there Jake Sullivan standing right next to the bride. Oh, that's her husband. Anthony Blinken's there. Tony Blinken, the disgraced former Secretary of State, is there. And again, Samantha Power is there with William Jefferson Blythe Clinton III. So this is the woman who is in this video calling for insurrection of military members. Let's watch.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath
To protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
you must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
So there are very, very concerns that our military members don't know that they're carrying out illegal orders, like Oh, they don't say. It's a very serious thing to say to your military, refuse the orders of the commander-in-chief. My friend Chris Bray writes at Substack, best Substack that exists. It's called Tell Me How It Ends. And Chris went back and did some research. He was able to find 3 instances where people refused to carry out orders, and in all 3 cases, it ended poorly for the people who refused to carry out the orders because there's a very high bar for this. And if it's this serious, that they're calling on military members to commit treason, then in fact what they should do is come out and say the following orders are illegal. Like what? Like having some National Guard troops go guard the Custom Border Patrol building in Portland, one of them in Illinois, because those buildings are being attacked. Because in the case of Portland, at one point, they built up a whole bunch of rubble and woods, and they love to use fireworks, etc. And they put that up against the door of the building, and they attempted to burn federal officers out, or they brought in a circular saw, massive, expensive circular saw, in an attempt to break in to perhaps assault federal officers. So it's illegal to guard federal buildings with troops? This is the illegality? Or is it the fact that Custom Border Patrol is arresting criminals who are in our country illegally? That's against the law. Custom Border Patrol is not military. They're backed up by military units. Why? Well, it happens to be that we're watching an organized effort to ram them with cars, to shoot at them. So these are illegal orders? See, this is the very same thing that the U.S. Catholic bishops did. They went down and they sad-faced a video, same technique. In this case, they succeeded in getting all the bishops up against the same backgrounds. They all read the same script. And then a producer went through and took the very best line from each of them and made it into this very powerful speaking in one voice thing. They call themselves the U.S. Catholic bishops, and here we go.
As pastors, we, the bishops of the United States, are bound to our people by ties of communion and compassion in our Lord Jesus Christ. And we are disturbed when we see among our people a climate of fear and anxiety around questions of profiling and immigration enforcement.
So their concerns when they see among their people fear about questions of stuff that just maybe happens or isn't, but could, and some folks think is, but they're not saying they are.
We are saddened by the state of contemporary debate and the vilification of immigrants. We are concerned about the conditions in detention centers and the lack of access to pastoral care.
So they're concerned about some things that may or may not be going on, and it's about migrants because the conversation has nothing to do with illegal immigrants. So the bishops refuse to name the thing that is actually being debated, or the process is being debated, which is, are we going to allow people to sneak into our country illegally, remain here, take American jobs, and take walking around money and end up voting in elections? See, they can't even name the thing. And in the case of the Democrats in the insurrection video, they never named the thing either. It's the same exact video.
We lament that some immigrants in the United States have arbitrarily lost their legal status. We are troubled by threats against the sanctity of houses of worship and the special nature of hospitals and schools.
Now, I wonder if we could name those threats. I wonder if we could go out and name an instance where someone arbitrarily lost their immigration status, where the immigration authorities just said, you know what, let's toss a coin. Can they stay? Heads, they stay. Tails, they leave. They're very concerned about some things that may or may not be happening, but they have yet to name a thing that's actually happening with an actual name or an actual headline.
We are grieved when we meet parents who fear being detained when taking their children to school, or when we try to console family members who have already been separated from their loved ones.
So at least that's somewhat specific. It's a fear that may be happening. I'm sure there's people that's afraid, who are afraid. Back in the day, before I was a discipled Christian, back in the day, I used to drive a car, sometimes with bench warrants for my arrest because I chose not to pay traffic tickets. And sometimes when I was doing that, I faced accountability. Like one time I got arrested in Utah for that. And I got the criminal mind, which is I would drive on the swivel. Hey, there's a cop up at the next intersection. That means suddenly I need to go into Joann's Fabric and buy fabric because I'm not going to pass that cop. And have these instincts. So do people who are in our country illegally. And they haven't feared. because they haven't been held accountable. They're being held accountable now. And I'll make another point about this because these are the same videos. Another point about accountability, we'll talk about that in a second.
Despite obstacles and prejudices, generations of immigrants have made enormous contributions to the well-being of our nation. We as Catholic bishops love our country and pray for its peace and prosperity.
For this very reason, we feel compelled now in this environment to raise our voices in defense of God-given human dignity.
Now, but not then. Not when Barack Hussein Obama was using the same detention facilities, the same federal departments to deport people for the same reasons. They didn't feel it was time to speak out then. They have never felt it's time to speak out to their own leadership and to say to Pope Leo, tear down that wall around the Vatican. All people should be allowed. They've never felt compelled to do that. They have never felt compelled to say to the countries who are, in fact, emptying their country of criminal gang members, etc., they never felt compelled to say to those countries, please don't flood our country with illegal immigrants. They never felt compelled to say to the immigrants, please use legal processes. Please, if you're in our country illegally, self-deport. After all, Romans 13 says we are to obey the rules of the land. Now, see, there's a huge difference here with these two videos. The insurrectionists, they weren't the least bit concerned when Barack Hussein Obama legitimately broke international law, or rather our laws, by giving money to Iran, which our military was forced to do, or orders he gave to assassinate U.S. citizens using drones, where he bragged to Rolling Stone magazine that it turned out he was good at ending the lives of people. They didn't have concerns about that then. They didn't have concerns about using the military in a performative act to build a fence around the White House for 216 days during Joe Biden's first, 216 days having been installed in office. They didn't feel at all compelled to speak about that in any way. They didn't compelled to speak about this when National Guard troops were going through the streets in states telling people, stay inside because we're looking for this or that criminal, which is a lot different than we are actually protecting federal property. It's the same video. Sadly, these U.S. Catholic bishops effectively delegitimized the Catholic Church on this issue. And just as sadly, these people with these military backgrounds or this intelligence background that they have, they're delegitimizing their backgrounds. Oh, and on that topic, isn't it all weird to see a former CIA officer lecturing us about ethics? I think it is.